Discover the incredible truth: did God create evil? Revealed in 7 miraculous biblical insights. In the land of Uz, during the reign of Jehoiakim, there lived a man named Job, a blameless and upright man, who feared God and turned away from evil. He was exceedingly wealthy, blessed with 7 sons and 3 daughters, countless sheep, camels, oxen, and servants. The people of Uz spoke of him with awe, for his name was synonymous with integrity and righteousness. Job regularly offered sacrifices on behalf of his children, fearing they might sin and incur God's wrath. His life was one of deep devotion to Yahweh, and his heart resonated with a pure love for the Creator. Yet, unknown to Job, in the heavenly realms, a cosmic confrontation brewed. The accuser, known as Satan, stood before the Lord, challenging Job's sincere faithfulness. Does Job fear God for no reason? He mocked, implying that Job's devotion was merely a byproduct of his abundant blessings. In the celestial council, a decree was rendered: Job would be tested, thrust into the clutches of calamity and sorrow. What was to unfold would be a narrative steeped in divine mystery and profound suffering. As dawn broke over Uz, the sun cast a golden hue across Job's flourishing lands. Little did he know, fate's swift hand was poised to strike. A messenger arrived, breathless with dread, announcing the Sabaeans had attacked, taking away Job's oxen and servants. No sooner had he spoken than another hurried forward, crying out that fire from heaven had consumed his sheep and helpers. Just then, a fierce wind tore through the house where his children had gathered, and in a heartbeat, they were lost to the ravages of tragedy. It felt as if the very earth beneath Job trembled at such overwhelming news. He fell to the ground, tears streaming down his face, yet with a voice quivering but defiant, he proclaimed, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away, blessed be the name of the Lord." Even in despair, Job clung to his faith, refusing to give way to anger against his Creator. In heavenly courts, the accuser watched with triumph. Yet, as the test neared its zenith, a new challenge began. Satan returned, presenting his case once more, proclaiming, "Skin for skin. All that a man has he will give for his life." Job's body was afflicted with painful sores, from the crown of his head to the soles of his feet. Amidst his agony, he took a piece of broken pottery, scraping his wounds, but he did not curse God. Instead, he mourned, pondering the underlying reasons for such suffering. In the midst of this storm, Job's friends gathered, hearts heavy with sorrow. They sat with him in silence for 7 days, until they wrestled with what they believed to be manifestations of divine justice. Their views on suffering and sin became a source of additional torment for Job, leading to bewildering conversations that challenged the essence of his faith. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. Days turned into weeks, and the shadows of confusion grew ever darker. Job pondered, had the Almighty devised this suffering for reasons beyond human understanding? In the silence that enveloped him, he longed for a divine revelation, a sign from God. And then, in a whirlwind of power and majesty, the Lord spoke, questioning Job, "Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth?" God's voice rumbled with authority, a reminder of his omnipotence amid Job's profound anguish. As Job listened, he wrestled with the depths of divine mystery. Each syllable resonated with eternal weight, challenging him to confront the nature of suffering and the reality of faith. Would the answers materialize? In the abyss of despair, a flicker of hope glimmered, a promise of restoration woven into the fabric of the narrative, leaving Job and all who would hear his story seeking both resolution and understanding in the face of evil's enigmatic shadow. Then the Lord continued, speaking out of the whirlwind, "Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it?" Job 38 verses 12 to 13. With each question, the Lord reinforced the vast expanse of his wisdom and control over creation. Job recognized the profound gulf between his understanding and the Creator's might. In the depths of his heart, Job felt overwhelmed, yet he held fast to a flicker of faith. I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted, he pondered, recalling the words of those who speak of God's righteousness, Job 42 verse 2. Each inquiry posed by God was like a cleansing fire, illuminating the shadows of doubt that had crept into his soul. As Job contemplated these truths, desolation weighed heavy upon him like a mantle. Why must I suffer in silence? He cried out. Is there no ear to hear me? Is there no eye to see my plight? His voice became hoarse from the struggles of his spirit, and the well-intended words of his friends began to echo in his mind like clanging brass, their murmurs mingling with his deepest despair. His friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, grew agitated. They insisted on a rigid theology of retribution. Surely, Job, suffering comes because of unconfessed sin, Eliphaz posited. Punishment is the harvest of iniquity, declared Bildad, clenching his fists. Job, now emboldened, responded, I am not more wicked than you, your assertions cut deeper than my wounds. I seek answers from the one who knows me. In the quiet of that disheartening dialogue, Job slipped into longing for a mediator, one who could bridge the insurmountable distance between himself and a holy God. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might go to his throne. Job 23 verse 3. His heart, although heavy, demandingly beat with unyielding hope that deliverance might come, however distant it felt, unbeknownst to Job. In the heavenly expanse where the accuser lingered, the narrative of faith unfolded dramatically. God observed Job's steadfastness, an example of unwavering fidelity amidst chaos, a testament to the resilience of divine grace sustaining mortal spirits. As whispers of challenges filled the air, God's response was not only a promise but a decree. The testing of your faith produces perseverance, he declared, and heaven shifted. The celestial beings marveled, for in the depths of despair, the human spirit proved unbroken, grounded in faith that transcended understanding. Suddenly, a light shone upon the horizon of Job's heart, illuminating the shadows that plagued him. I will trust in him, Job declared, even when his way is untraceable. And God remained silent for a while, allowing Job to wrestle with the substance of truth that rested within the soul. Faith beyond sight. In this crucible of trial and testing, where darkness loomed, the tapestry of God's sovereign design began to take shape. A glimpse of what lay ahead flickered like a distant star, perhaps recovery, perhaps restoration. The Lord's thoughts were higher than Job's own, a divine plan intertwined with suffering, leading to an unfathomable end. For I know the plans I have for you, whispered the Spirit, a divine promise echoing through the ages, more intricately woven than Job perceived. And so, the stage was set, for could Job emerge not only intact but transformed? The narrative awaited its glorious unveiling, for the path of suffering often leads to places of deeper encounter with the divine. The story was far from over, it was only the beginning of a grand revelation yet to come, a testament of faith that would ring through generations. Then the Lord spoke again, declaring from the tempest, Do you know the balancings of the clouds, the wondrous works of him who is perfect in knowledge? Job 37 verse 16. The might of his voice resonated through the valleys of despair, and Job, still seeking understanding, listened intently, aware that each inquiry aimed at unraveling not only the mysteries of creation but also the mysteries of his own suffering. Job, amidst the tumult, gathered his thoughts, a whirlwind of doubt and hope intertwined within his spirit. If I am in the hands of the Almighty, why does calamity encircle me? He whispered, longing to understand the depth of divine wisdom that he felt eluded him. In this moment, the divine weight of purpose pressed upon him, and he felt himself suspended between despair and unyielding trust. Eliphaz, emboldened by Job's cries, interjected, Is it for your fear of God that you should be punished? Reflect upon your heart, see if there is any wicked way in you. Bildad nodded in grim agreement, The innocent do not suffer, nor do the upright perish. Each statement was like a hammer upon the anvil of Job's soul, igniting fury mingled with sorrow. In the face of their insistent admonishments, Job's heart cried out, foolish comforters. You know not the intricacies of God's design. He looked up, his eyes drawn to the heavens, for I know that my Redeemer lives, and he shall stand at last on the earth. Job 19 verse 25. Hope, like a flickering flame, ignited within him, illuminating the dark chambers of his doubt. He clung to the promise that one day, he would be vindicated. God's voice surged again through the storm, will you discredit my justice? Will you condemn me that you may be justified? Job 40 verse 8. The weight of his question pressed upon Job with profound intensity. Would it be possible for a finite understanding to comprehend the ways of the infinite? Job, realizing the vastness of this dilemma, felt the breath of divine wisdom filling the spaces of his heart. He turned to his friends, whose faces were cast in troubled shadows. Shall we not bow in reverence before him? For what do we know of the depths of his counsel? Seeking knowledge deeper than mere human wisdom, Job recognized the need for humility. The depths of the sea, the heights of the mountains, does he not know them? Job pondered, as words of praise began to rise from his heart. A stillness fell upon the gathering as the atmosphere thickened with spiritual weight, transforming the anguish into a quiet resolve. Job realized that sometimes, the journey through suffering is not merely to understand the answer but to embrace the one who holds the answer. Though he slay me, yet will I trust him, he declared boldly, I will maintain my own ways before him. Job 13 verse 15, the heavens shifted, and a whisper traveled through the stars, foreshadowing something yet to be revealed. Job found himself on the precipice of revelation, sensing that the curtains of understanding were about to be drawn aside. What if my pain brings forth a greater glory? He wondered, as the thought danced like a light upon the surface of the waters, and as he breathed in the promise of hope, the Spirit beckoned, you have asked of me, I shall show you the unfathomable. The hour approaches when your eyes will behold the wonder of my plan woven through suffering. For it was in this crucible of trials that God would unveil the profound tapestry of redemption, a hint of glory that lay just beyond the horizon, awaiting its moment to be born anew. Then Job, feeling the weight of the divine presence, knelt upon the ashes. His heart trembled with both reverence and the shadow of despair that lay over him. O Lord, he cried out, how can a mortal understand the mind of the Almighty? The tempest suddenly stilled, as if it were a canvas awaiting the brush of the Creator. In the quiet that ensued, an ethereal clarity descended upon Job, illuminating the halls of his mind. What is man that you are mindful of him? Psalm 8 verse 4, he mused deeply, considering the vastness of God compared to his own fleeting existence. Eliphaz, noticing the change in Job's demeanor, stepped closer, uncertainty threading through his voice. Job, remember that the Almighty does not pervert justice. Your suffering must have roots unseen to our eyes. With the fervor igniting his words, Job turned his gaze to Eliphaz. I have searched my heart, he insisted, and I have found no deceit upon my lips. Yet the heavens seem as brass, and my cries echo against the silence. Do we not know that even the righteous may suffer? Job 5 verse 17. As Job wrestled with the enormity of his grief, he contemplated God's sovereignty. In that moment, he felt a flicker of clarity. Perhaps his suffering served a greater purpose, for my Redeemer lives, and he will come. Job 19 verse 25. This proclamation stirred a cry within him. The wind resumed, carrying with it an unspoken promise. Promises that stretched far beyond his understanding. As if the heavens confirmed his realization, the very sky bowed before the divine plan that enveloped Job. Shall we not humble ourselves, friends? He asked earnestly, turning to his companions. Our understanding is limited, confined to the valleys we tread. The Almighty has laid out his purposes in wisdom, beyond the scope of our perception. With every word, Job began to embrace the very truth that had brought him low. God's ways are higher than our ways, Isaiah 55 verse 9. Then the voice of God thundered once again through the clouds, a ripple of authority that reverberated deep within Job's soul. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding. Job 38 verse 4. The overwhelming majesty of this question set Job's heart ablaze. He clutched the earth beneath him, recognizing his place in the grand design. "Forgive me, Lord, for my lips have spoken unwisely," he uttered, a wave of humility crashing over him. "I have heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees you." Job 42 verse 5. Job's eyes opened anew to the tapestry of existence woven with threads of joy and threads of sorrow, love and anguish. Each strand vital to the artistry of creation. The tempest became a profound teacher, revealing the mysteries of faith and the depth of love that lived even within his suffering. As he rose, renewed yet still aching, a voice whispered amidst the stillness of the night, echoing in the chambers of his heart, "Though darkness seem to reign, I shall bring forth light from your trials. The dawn is drawing near, where pain will birth glory." In the depths of this moment lay a promise yet unveiled, a sovereign plan that even now was beginning to unfold, revealing that God's divine purpose often walks hand in hand with the trials of our earthly sojourn. Thus, the stage was set, as Job awaited the revelation of the intertwining paths of suffering and redemption, the greater glory that loomed upon the horizon, echoing the divine promise of all creation. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting long shadows across the desolation around them, Job remained stooped in deep contemplation. His heart beat with a rhythm of grief and growing faith, a mingling of despair and hope that hung heavy in the air like the promise of rain after a long drought. "What shall I say in response to you, O Lord?" Job whispered in somber reflection, the weight of divine purpose seeping into his spirit. "For you have fashioned me from the dust, yet I am set apart to ponder your glorious creation." Eliphaz, still uncertain, interjected with hesitance, "Job, do you understand that even in our trials, the Lord seeks to teach us? There are things we must comprehend about righteousness and the nature of our afflictions." He pondered silently, weighing his words, for in fire, gold is refined, and in suffering, the soul is prepared. Job's brow furrowed at the thought. "Indeed, my friends, but what greater fire must there be than the one that tests the very core of my being?" He looked towards the distant mountains, holding tightly to the truth embedded in his heart. Will the Almighty not reveal the goodness that lies beyond these ashes? As the stars began to pierce the darkened sky, illuminating the night with celestial splendor, a fresh breeze swept through the desolation, a whisper of promise. Job stretched out his hands, and with fervency, he declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." Job 13 verse 15. The fire within him ignited, driving back the despair that sought to engulf. Then, as if the heavens had drawn nearer, the voice of the Almighty resonated again, not in tumult but in deliberate compassion. "Job, what you seek lies not in an answer but in a relationship. For the depths of your trials are the very caverns where my grace shall abound." Job fell silent, absorbing the divine revelation. "O Lord, my heart is heavy with unknowing. What must I do to draw nearer to your will? Awaken to my presence." The voice enveloped him tenderly. "For I am not distant. In pain, I hold you close, in shadows, I guide your steps. Be still, for every moment of suffering produces endurance, leading to character, resulting in hope." Romans 5 verses 3-4. As dawn approached, Job sensed a stirring within his spirit, a realization that his pain held intrinsic value in the grand tapestry of God's purpose. The earth quaked underfoot as he began to rise, the solidity of faith taking root anew. Turning towards his friends, he spoke with newfound clarity, "Brothers, let us not despair in the face of our trials. Each sorrow carries with it the seed of God's glory. He shall give beauty for ashes." Isaiah 61 verse 3. And from the depths of his pain, a profound truth emerged, echoing throughout the ages: what you don't yet see is the light that the darkness cannot extinguish. For in every sorrowful chapter, the Lord writes his sovereignty. In this moment, as Job's heart swelled with resolve, a deeper quest had begun, entwined with divine mystery, a truth yet to be fully revealed. The sacred question remained, hidden in the annals of hope: how shall your suffering sing forth the gospel of mercy and grace? The dawn was drawing near, and with it, the unfolding of God's ultimate purpose, a brilliant tapestry woven from every trial, every tear, calling for the hearts of many to witness the breadth of his unfathomable love. As the sun broke over the horizon, casting its golden rays upon the land, Job stood resolute, the strains of dawn igniting a flicker of hope within him. The shadows of the night began to fade, giving way to the warmth of the day, a celestial reminder that though trials may linger, new beginnings arise with each dawn. Lord of heaven, Job cried, his voice firm yet tender, in this cacophony of suffering, unveil your purpose. Let your wisdom saturate my heart. I shall walk with integrity, even as the world seems to unravel. He raised his eyes to the heavens, where the clouds shimmered in the morning light. Eliphaz, witnessing the resolve in Job's voice, felt a stirring in his spirit. Job, the Lord is mighty to save, he said, his tone gaining strength. Do you not see? Our suffering is intertwined with his majesty. For in the shadows, he molds us as clay in the potter's hands, shaping us for his glory. Bildad, emboldened by the words of his friend, added, Indeed, Job. Consider the teachings of our fathers, that afflictions refine the soul. As gold is smelted by fire, so must we endure trials to come forth as pure vessels of honor. The encouraging words of his friends wrapped around Job's wearied heart like a balm, nurturing a faith that had begun to blossom amidst despair. Yet what is man, that you are mindful of him? The Son of Man, that you care for him? Job pondered aloud, wrestling with the magnitude of divine love that enveloped even the most broken souls. In our frailty, O Lord, you find purpose. Teach me, for I am but dust. As Job's spirit wrestled with this revelation, the wind stirred, and the voice of the Almighty rose like a gentle tide. My child, trust in my unfathomable wisdom. For I have set eternity in your heart, and my plan exceeds your understanding. You are called to be a vessel of my grace, a beacon amidst the storm. With his heart ignited by this divine assurance, Job felt an overwhelming sense of purpose rise within him. He turned once more to his friends, let us not be hindered by our grief but be strengthened by the faith we carry. Each day brings forth new mercies, even in our lamentations. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and he shall stand on the earth at last. Job 19 verse 25. As the day progressed, an unshakable sense of divine presence enveloped them, and they began to share not only their grief but also the testimonies of God's past faithfulness. Job recounted stories of forefathers and the miraculous deeds wrought by the Lord, a testament to his character and sovereignty. Remember, my friends, Job spoke fervently, it is written, when the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. Psalm 34 verse 17. The gathering bore witness to this heart cry, a chorus echoing across the ages, each soul reminding the other of God's unfailing love, even in their darkened hours, yet unbeknownst to them, as they shared their hearts, a divine plan wove intricately through Job's suffering, a testament of God's intent to reveal his ultimate purpose through pain and perseverance. Little did Job know, the seeds sown in his trials were destined to flourish, not only for his restoration but for the birth of a legacy that would bring forth hope to countless generations. With every tear, he would weave truth into a narrative that resonated within the hearts of the faithful. The unseen chronicles of heaven began to unfurl, revealing the divine mystery yet untouched, for the glory that is to be revealed in us far outweighs the momentary afflictions we endure. As they prayed together, a whisper lingered in the air, a murmur of a promise yet to be fulfilled. The time is coming when my sovereignty shall manifest, transforming ashes into beauty. There, you will see the greater truth unfold. As the new day unfolded, Job, with renewed vigor, addressed his friends with fervor igniting his heart. Let us cling to the promises that sustain us. The Lord who has journeyed with our ancestors will not abandon us now in our desolation. He is our refuge, our fortress, our God in whom we trust. Eliphaz, sensing the intensity of Job's spirit, replied, Indeed, Job. For it is written, the Lord delights in those who fear him, who put their hope in his unfailing love. Psalm 147 verse 11. With these words, a palpable energy filled the air. As the three friends were drawn into deep reflection, their spirits intertwining in the collective longing for understanding amid suffering. Bildad's heart quickened as he shared, the paths of the Most High are unknowable, and yet his faithfulness endures from generation to generation. The air was thick with reverence as they recalled the mighty deeds spun into their lineage, stories of deliverance and strength that came from humble submission to divine purpose. Job raised his hand toward the heavens, his voice soaring in certainty, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him." Job 13 verse 15. The shadows of doubt that had flitted about his heart began to dissipate once more as the weight of anguish was lifted, if only for a moment. An echo of glory resonating amidst their shared lament. In the stillness, the sweet sound of creation lulled around them, the rustle of leaves and the distant song of birds weaving a divine tapestry. As they prayed, silence swallowed the world. It was in that sacred stillness that the Lord's voice broke through, transformative and powerful. "Job, arise and speak forth, for I have set you apart. Your anguish and cries shall be the seed of wisdom for many, turning hearts toward me." A thrill coursed through Job's body as these words settled upon his spirit. "O Lord, your ways are wondrous, and your plans are beyond my grasp. I desire to understand how my suffering can serve your greater purpose." The sun hung high in the azure sky, and the day passed as their dialogue turned from sorrow to unbridled hope. Job's bewilderment gave way to clarity, and as his heart expanded to embrace this divine revelation, he felt no longer alone. Yet, like a tide that ebbs and flows, new waves of doubt would crash upon him, occasionally darkening his soul. His friends perceived the weight of this internal struggle, and Eliphaz offered, "Job, remember that in all these things, God works for the good of those who love him." Romans 8 verse 28. Job nodded, yet the longing for deeper revelation intensified within, a desire not just to endure but to emerge refined as gold through the furnace of affliction. In the depths of his spirit, Job began to sense a profound truth: his plight was not merely personal. What if the suffering has purpose not only for my own life but for an entire generation? He mused, his heart igniting with fervor. Perhaps through my anguish, they shall find steadfastness. As twilight descended, painting the skies in hues of purple and gold, a gentle wind stirred, and the Spirit of God wrapped around them. "Fear not, O my servant Job, for even now I am charting a course for your life that shall echo through the ages." This chapter, though fraught with trial, shall lead to a revelation others will grasp. With these divine assurances ringing in their hearts, they turned to pray once more, sensing that they too were part of something vastly greater. And thus, the seeds of legacy were being sown. Job's story woven with strands of hope and perseverance, but a mystery lingered in the air, an ungraspable promise poised for fulfillment. "There shall come a day," whispered the wind, "when your trials redeem not only you but armies of the broken, for my glory shall be manifest." Prepare, for what lies ahead is a revelation as yet unseen, hope rising from the ashes. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting elongated shadows across the land, Job found himself lost in contemplation. The weight of their previous dialogue lingered, each word a note in a grand symphony of divine orchestration. "What now, O Lord?" Job's heart whispered, yearning for an answer, yet knowing that the unfolding of God's plan was beyond his finite understanding. Then, amidst the growing twilight, there was a faint stirring in the air, and a brilliant luminescence broke through the gathering shadows. In that moment, the Lord's voice echoed once more, resonating like the sound of a rushing wind, "Job, lean into the mystery of my providence. For in your quest for answers lies the essence of faith, trusting unseen, believing in the unseen." Eliphaz, ever attuned to the spiritual atmosphere, sensed the divine presence enveloping them and said, "Surely, my friend, the Lord is among us. Let us not be weary in seeking him. Seek the Lord while he may be found, call on him while he is near." Isaiah 55 verse 6. The weight of these words filled the gathering night air as they marveled at the sacred invitation. Indeed, Bildad interjected, "Our hearts must remain steadfast as we embark upon this journey of understanding. For it is written, a tranquil heart is life to the body, but passion is rottenness to the bones." Proverbs 14 verse 30. Job nodded in agreement, feeling the peace of unity bolster the resolve within their spirits. yet, the echoes of doubt still loomed, like distant thunderclouds on the horizon. Job turned to his friends, his eyes reflecting the intermingling of pain and hope. "Can it be, brothers, that our understanding of suffering is but a glimpse of a larger tapestry? Could my trials be part of a divine narrative that extends beyond our own lives?" The three friends remained silent, contemplating the profound implications of his thoughts. A soft breeze rustled the leaves overhead, as if creation itself responded to Job's musings. Images of their ancestors watching from heavens, enduring times of hardship, flooded Job's mind. He clung to the prayers of his fathers and mothers as if they were roots that anchored him firmly to the ground. Then, among the stillness, the voice of God broke through once more. "Job, you are not merely a vessel of suffering, you are a vessel of my grace. Each tear shall water the ground of many hearts, and from your wounds shall spring forth healing for those amidst despair." Job's heart quickened. "Oh, how wondrous are your ways, O Lord!" He thought of the countless faces he knew who wrestled with their own afflictions and recognized that his pain could resonate with many. Then, "Make me an instrument of your peace," he declared, a fire igniting within him, light against the encroaching dark. As stars began to dot the night sky, a sense of anticipation stilled the air. "The nights are long, but the dawn will come," Eliphaz whispered, as if reciting a hidden prophecy. "Remember what is written, weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning." Psalm 30 verse 5. In that sacred moment, the friends fell to their knees, their hearts united in prayer, imploring God for strength, revelation, understanding, and faith. They paused, sensing the tremor of something profound on the horizon, cloaked in the mystery of his plan. As the fire crackled beside them, illuminating their faces, Bildad raised his voice. "What if, through Job's trials, a greater truth shall be revealed? A truth not of punishment, but of divine purpose." And it was then that the winds carried forth a whisper, "Prepare, for a day shall dawn when the light of revelation will pierce the deepest darkness, and all shall see my goodness in the land of the living." With a hushed awe, the three friends exchanged glances, their hearts ignited by the promise of tomorrow, yearning for the unveiling of God's sovereign plan, a mystery as yet unfathomable but undeniably approaching. Then the night deepened, and a profound stillness embraced them, as if the very heavens held their breath. Job, still kneeling, felt the weight of God's presence drawing near, wrapping his heart with both dread and hope. "O Lord, our strength, what would you have me learn?" he cried out, his voice trembling yet resolute. The stars twinkled overhead, ancient beacons of divine promise, each one a reminder of God's unfailing covenant. Eliphaz, sensing the thickening atmosphere of anticipation, spoke fervently, "Job, consider the stories of those who walked before us. Did not our father Abraham endure trials that tested his faith? Did not Joseph rise from the depths of despair to govern the nations?" "Indeed," Bildad replied, his voice steady like the dawning light, "these trials were but shadows leading to his glory. Even Moses faced the fury of Pharaoh as he led your people from captivity. In all these struggles, their faith became the bridge to God's purpose." As they pondered, a luminous cloud encircled them, and from within came a voice like the sound of many waters. "Be still, and know that I am God," it declared, sending shivers through the hearts of the four men. "I have woven the threads of this universe with intention. Your suffering, Job, is not without meaning. It is written, when the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles." Psalm 34 verse 17. Job felt a surge of strength as the weight of despair lifted. "O Lord, then let my cries be like incense before you." His spirit soared, intertwining his pain with a newfound purpose, resonating with the truth revealed through his trials. It was then that God's voice sustained them, the very air vibrating with divine authority. "Understand, my beloved children, that every affliction holds a lesson, and every sorrow births compassion. In your anguish, I shall establish a testimony for the generations to come." He continued, "Hear now the words of wisdom, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Jeremiah 29 verse 11. With his declaration, the heavens seemed to amplify the truth, carrying the sound of thunderous affirmations through time and space. Job's heart raced within him, embracing God's promise. He turned to his friends, light shining in his eyes. If my trials can be for his glory, then let them be multiplied. I shall not despair, for in my pain I will witness his faithfulness. A hush fell, as the night awaited Job's resolve. Eliphaz and Bildad exchanged solemn glances, sensing that a crucial revelation was upon them. Job's spirit, once embattled with grief, swelled with conviction. May my story of suffering bring comfort to others, may my wounds reveal his grace. What if my trial becomes the very light needed to guide others from darkness? O Lord, weave my life into your greater purpose. Then the voice of the Lord whispered again, a gentle yet powerful wind stirred through them. Job, remember, I have considered you worthy to be part of this divine narrative. The mysteries you ponder shall soon be revealed, for a deliverance awaits. Yet, prepare your hearts, for the unveiling of my purpose entails both judgment and mercy. As the friends knelt, silence enveloped them, thick with expectation. They knew something extraordinary was unfolding. Job clasped the earth beneath him, yearning for the dawn, a dawn not merely of daybreak but of revelation. A day was drawing near, a time that would shake the very foundations of understanding, and so, as the night whispered into the folds of eternity, the promise echoed in their spirits. Great truths and mysteries were on the horizon, mysteries that extended beyond pain, offering hope. For I have set a time ordained by my hand, the wind carried on, where all shall witness my glory and know my goodness, and it will unfold in a manner that none could envision. And as the dawn broke over the land of Uz, casting rays of hope upon the sorrowed heart of Job, a new day began, a day of divine revelation. The tempest within him quieted, and beneath the vibrant light, he felt a stirring spirit within, a promise made flesh, illuminating his path. Job, now emboldened, rose from his place among the ashes with the weight of the Almighty pressing upon his heart. In that moment, the voice of the Lord rang forth, powerful, yet tender, Job, behold, I have restored what was taken from you, for your faithfulness has become a beacon of hope for all generations. The skies above did not remain silent, they echoed the truth of his sovereignty, and the earth beneath Job trembled as if in witness to the profound transformation unfolding. Your trials have not been in vain, the Lord continued, for I have heard your cries, and I have seen the condition of your heart. Reflect upon how you have clung to me in the shadow of despair. And so, now I shall pour out my blessings upon you. And as Job listened, the scene unfurled before him, a vision of restoration that spanned the heavens, lavishing forth blessings as the morning sun poured its warmth. Your sheep shall be doubled, your camels multiplied, and the joy of your children shall return to you. Each word from the Lord fell like rain upon parched ground, bringing forth new life, new dreams, and renewed hope. Job's heart expanded within him, as he imagined the abundant blessings cascading over him, a family restored, friendships rekindled, and a community strengthened by the testimony of his faithfulness. He recalled the words he once spoke, though he slay me, yet will I trust him, Job 13 verse 15, and in that trust, he began to see the unfurling of God's ultimate plan, a plan of redemption that would reverberate through time. In the distance, his friends Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar stood, their faces reflecting a mixture of awe and contrition. We misjudged you, Job, Eliphaz spoke softly, your afflictions were not the fruit of your sins but the forging of a legacy. We see now the beauty of God's purpose woven through the anguish. With humbled hearts, all three approached Job, bearing gifts that symbolized their newfound understanding, offering sacrifices to the God who had carried them through their misconceptions. Now we shall stand together, proclaiming the wonders of the Lord. Bildad declared, their tears mingling with laughter as they recognized the fullness of God's restorative grace. Then the Lord spoke again, Job, I have accepted your friends' sacrifices. Pray for them, for their words have caused you anguish, but I shall use this experience to refine them as well. And Job, gathering his strength, rose to intercede for those who once questioned his integrity. His heart overflowed with the mercy of the one who had redeemed him. He knelt before the Lord, lifting his voice in intercession, and as he prayed, a profound kindness wrapped around him, a signal of the divine embrace that had seen him through every trial. O Lord, forgive them, for they spoke from their own understanding. May your truth prevail, and may we all draw closer to you. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the gifts of restoration flowed into Job's life. New sons and daughters filled his home, their laughter intertwining with the beauty of creation. He lived to witness the magnitude of God's grace, for the Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the first, Job 42 verse 12. His days became enveloped in joy, and the community witnessed how God's providence exceeded all expectation. The echoes of Job's steadfastness and God's merciful hand reverberated through the ages, creating a sanctuary for all who would encounter this sacred narrative of suffering transformed into glory. And so it was that Job became a cherished figure, the father of faith who proclaimed the unfathomable goodness of God when all seemed lost. His story rippled through generations, assuring countless souls of God's faithfulness in times of testing. As the final moments of this chapter approached, a bittersweet joy colored Job's heart. I see your hand now, O giver of life, he whispered in sacred reverence, recognizing the need to surrender, to trust beyond the horizon of his understanding. May my trials serve as testimonies of your greatness. And therein lay the ultimate truth: God does not create evil, but he weaves together every thread of human experience, allowing his children to emerge refined, woven into a narrative of hope and resurrection. With hearts overflowing with gratitude, the community cheered, proclaiming, "Blessed be the name of the Lord. For in times of uncertainty, we shall stand firm in the knowledge that release springs from the depths of pain." People began to gather from surrounding lands, drawn by Job's transformed life, a life that would become a testament to the power of faith in the face of adversity. The harmony of their voices rang true, a chorus celebrating the redemptive power of suffering, echoing God's eternal promise of hope. If you have felt the weight of trials pressing in upon your spirit, now is the time to embrace the hope that God brings through Job's journey. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word and witness more powerful biblical stories that inspire faith. Leave a like now to help spread God's Word through the algorithm and share this testimony with those in need. Comment your spiritual reflections and how this biblical account has impacted your faith. Let your voice join the chorus of hope. Don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. For only true believers understand the urgency of supporting biblical content to reach more souls for Christ.